my brain's up for the taking, but we don't do that. I know my facts. They say that he was elected, but where the stats at? They say that jab the only way to get your life back, but if you have a heart attack, then they will go to hide that. Look at the FDA acting like KKK, trying to run all our lives like we they brand new slaves. Lose the job, bent from plain segregation, all the same. They call themselves progressives, but they taking us all back again. Bring the world to darkness and sacrifice the children. Then when it's said and done, then you will never live with hope again. I say that we break the chains, we can't leave the world the same. Make love real again. As we fly above the truth, I ask of God, am I with you? I walk the path, go to the light, but still I feel that. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages from all across the world. You are now tuned into our twice weekly daytime show we do here on the YouTube channel and Rumble channel and Getter, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. I'm more than likely there on Mondays and Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, also known as the Chandler Brief, where the dress code is, of course, business casual. Shout out to all the folks we've got joining us in the building today. Like I mentioned, things are still getting kind of rebalanced here in the set, so if I look slightly more off center than I did yesterday, that's on me. We're still working out some of the kinks around here, but I do want to give a shout out to Aaron Behringer, who's vastly and quickly becoming one of my favorite viewers here in the chat. But if you'd like to take his spot, also make sure you interact in the chat room. But he insulted me today. He said, 1 minute late. This is how you become Ricada, slowly, like all boomers. Man, that hurts. You know, I was really rushing it. Like, I was getting my stuff set together and it said 4 p.m. and I was like, no, I cannot make it to 4:01 without the show started. I think I did make it to 4 with the show started, but you know what? He caught me, so that is what it is. I also want to give a quick shout out to our Hall of Heroes for today. Anita J has joined the Hall of Heroes. She actually did that over the weekend, I believe, so just representing for her. Shout out to St. June and Anita J, our current Hall of Heroes members. We'll talk about all of that more later on in the show, but first things first, we've got to jump into the topics of the day. And man, today's topics are quite funny. So what is one thing you would think Joe Biden would never be able to brag about in America, like as president of the United States? What do you think is one thing he would never even dare try to brag about? I'll give you a second. I will play the Jeopardy theme song, but like I said yesterday, they'd copyright strike me, so we'll just say, da-na-na-na-na-na. Do you have an idea? His health. Yes, Joe Biden today was bragging about how healthy and spry he was, at least in comparison to President Donald Trump. And man, come on, guys. Are we serious right now? He says, when my predecessor got COVID, he had to get helicoptered to Walter Reed. He was severely ill. Thankfully, he recovered. When I got COVID, I worked from upstairs in the White House. The difference is vaccinations. Really, Joe? Is that what you're meaning to say? Let's hear it for our own ears, shall we?
Here's the bottom line.
Look, here's the bottom line. Here's the deal.
When my predecessor got COVID, he had to get helicoptered to Walter Reed Medical Center. He was severely ill. Thankfully, he recovered. When I got COVID, I worked from upstairs of the White House, and the office is upstairs, and for that 5-day period. The difference is vaccinations, of course, but also 3 new tools, free to all and widely available. You don't need to be president to get these tools used for your defense.
He can't even get through the speech gallivanting about his health without tripping over his words. The difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, other than maybe obvious things like weight, which it has a big factor, but Joe Biden is severely older and has suffered through a lot more things than Donald Trump has in regards to weight. What's going on, Steve Harlow? Nice to see you. But this goes deeper. Trump contracted COVID in, October of 2020, in the real midst of the pandemic, when everybody was still scared of it and we had everything locked down. And, you know, when the president of the free world catches this virus that everybody's like, oh, it's going to kill us all, America, we need to shut down and all that. Well, of course, his doctors and physicians are going to airlift him to Walter Reed, but at no point did we hear about him being put on oxygen. No point was he fighting for his life. He seemed to be doing very well and was very healthy. He kept us updated. His doctors kept us on the word, all that goodness, and he got through it. This was the very first strain, not any of these weaker strains which are going around, which no doubt Joe Biden caught, which are more transmissible, but far less lethal and severe to your body. That is a scientific fact. They can call it medical misinformation, but I'm not talking about vaccines or anything until now. Now, at the time, I don't believe Trump was vaccinated with anything because the vaccines hadn't been fully developed yet, but he did get later on. And as we've seen, so far as to say the vaccines are safe and effective, he hasn't caught anything, as far as we know, hasn't been publicized. Joe Biden has 3 vaccines. And I think he's approaching his 4th. He might already have his 4th. And he's catching COVID. I need you guys to think about this here. I need you guys, come on. I need y'all to think. As some people have always told me, we need to think. Moonshadow says, look at his eyes. He's drugged up. Steve Harlow says, hello. Aaron says, he's wearing sunglasses to hide how drugged up he is. It's true. It's true. I was going to talk about something yesterday, but I couldn't find the image. But I found it today. I even used it in our thumbnail quite hilariously. But this is an image of Joe Biden, supposedly in the exact same day. Does this look like the same man to you? Man number 1 looks like this. Man number 2 looks like this. Is this the same person? Come on, guys. Now, people in the comments are like, obviously, you don't know how a camera works. Of course it's Joe Biden. You know, the camera adds a few pounds. It's the lighting, the angle, the focal length. Same was you can shoot average-looking women and make her look like a model. Or a bad photographer can shoot a beautiful model and make them look bad. Everything is not some conspiracy. Did the lighting angle and focal length change his voice too? Oh, gosh. No way. Okay.
Folks, as we fight inflation,
listen.
You can't be pro-insurrection and pro-cop. Bringing down gas prices is a big part of the job. You can't be pro-insurrection and pro-democracy. You can't be pro-insurrection and pro-American. And here's the good news. Gas prices have dropped every day this summer.
I think we need to change something. Instead of,
and you ain't black.
How about it's, you ain't Biden? I think that's a good one. I really think that's a good one. You ain't I don't know who you are. I don't know who you think you are, but you ain't Joe. You ain't the Joe we've had to deal with in this country for 50 years now. Yes, 50 years. You ain't Joe. I don't know. This is like Wish Joe. This is the Joe I know right here, which is, it's a weird thing to say regardless, but this is the Joe I know and have come to, I won't say love, but hey, he's giving us plenty of laughs around here, right?
And you ain't black. Rub my leg down.
Pretty hilarious. I don't know who this guy is. This is Joe Schmo right here. This ain't, come on, guys. Come on. And Moonshadow makes another great point. Watch the video. He does not blink. We went through it all yesterday, Moonshadow. You should watch our video we did yesterday on this channel. But he did not blink once in the video. And I gotta clarify. It wasn't this Biden that didn't blink, although I wouldn't be surprised if it was this. It was Joe Schmo. Joe Schmo did not blink in that entire video. It was 22 seconds long. I tried to do a staring contest with him. Now, granted, this is probably a dustier room, and there's a fan running in here, so a lot more air is blowing in my eye, so I probably can't stay my eye open as long. But I couldn't beat him. I'm a spry chicken. I'm 17. I turned 18 in September. This guy's like, what, 78? And he can keep his eyes open longer than me. Something ain't right. We don't know how old Joe Schmo is, though. They're not the same person. Come on, guys.
Stop the cap.
They're not the same person. Aaron says, how did his hair get thinner in the same day? I don't know. Y'all are making some great points. I didn't even look that closely, at least not today. I was like, I don't know. Tammy says, don't make us look. I'm sorry, Tammy. I really am sorry. We do our best to bring you guys the news here on this show. And unfortunately, that's just the way things are. Moonshadow says, so I missed it. Unfortunately, Moon, you did. You got to keep your times, your eyes on the watch. I don't have my watch on today, but 4 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you'll never miss a show unless the show misses you, aka we don't do the show, which I try my best. Lady Liv says, definitely watching yesterday's. I haven't seen any of this yet. You're in for a good show, Lady Liv. You are in for a good show. But speaking of in for a good show, this next story is about someone who lost their quote-unquote good show, but might get a brand new chance on a brand new network. That would be Chris Cuomo, brother of former governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, who did a little bit of if you know what I'm talking about, and lost his job. And Chris Cuomo attempted to hide the fact that he did a little bit of and lost his job too. We're going to talk about all of that right after these brief messages from our sponsors, aka you guys. We'll be right back after this message. Hey freethinkers, Chandler here, and welcome to the brand new one-of-a-kind commercial break. Here on the Chandler Crump channel, we pride ourselves on straight-talking nature, adherence to facts, resistance to media programming, and a loyalty to the red, white, and blue above all. These live shows are what I consider to be my job, and I only get paid on tips around here. So if you think I've done a good job or want to encourage me to do even better, then check out the description of this video and go to donorbox.org/support-Chandler. This is our donation processor and the one-stop shop to support all things Chandler. If you choose to, you can even have your name appear on stream to flaunt that you support our show. This is of course the illustrious Hall of Heroes bar above me. Another path to the Hall of Heroes is of course Cash App. My Cash App code is $ChandlerCR and is visible on every one of my streams. Thank you guys so much. Now, let's get back to the show. Alright, I've left you guys waiting long enough, but that is the quick message on how to join our Hall of Heroes. If you want to do so, all those options are down below, and also we of course support Cash App donations right there. But now let's talk about the one, the only, Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo is coming back to cable news, but for a much smaller network, says the New York Post. The self-proclaimed free agent has landed a new anchor gig at News Nation, formerly WGN America, less than a year after he was fired by CNN. Cuomo announced that he'd be joining the network in an interview that aired Tuesday night with News Nation's Dan Abrams, a former ABC News colleague. I'm going to come to News Nation, and I want to build something special here, Cuomo said in his first interview. The former primetime anchor, who was ousted by CNN for using his media sources to advise his brother, then Governor Andrew Cuomo, through his harassment scandal, said he decided to join News Nation rather than a major TV news network based on his own morals. I had decided that I can't go back to what people see as the big game. I don't think I can make a difference there. I think we need insurgent media. I think we need outlets that aren't fringe and just trying to fill their pockets. However, there have been no reports of Cuomo receiving job offers from the big league networks after his fall from grace. CNN said the former Cuomo primetime star had violated his journalistic standards, which led to his termination last December.
Billions!
Yep.
That's just what happens when you do what Cuomo did. I never lied, and there was no secrets, he said. Hiring the once popular Cuomo brother could be a strategic move to boost News Nation's ratings, which I don't think there's literally any other way that could be going. News Nation has a much smaller following than Cuomo's previous employer. The network's primetime shows typically average a whole figure less than CNN. For instance, Dan Abrams Live, the show where Cuomo made his announcement, had 54,000 viewers Monday, compared to CNN's Anderson Cooper, which racked up 618,000 viewers. Cuomo's career announcement comes as he is in the middle of litigation with CNN. He has sued his former employer for a whopping $125 million in damages. Cuomo's primetime talk show is scheduled to premiere in the fall. So obviously News Nation is very small. In fact, I think OAN, America's Voice, and probably even RSBN, no, I definitely know RSBN, are netting more viewers during Trump rallies and during events and even during just some of their random shows that they have, more than News Nation is. And I've heard of News Nation a few times before. I think it's been on some of those off networks here and there, but I barely know who these people are. So I guess insurgent media is how they're doing it now. So let's hear from a little bit from Chris Cuomo himself, if we can.
Mr. Cuomo, I'll let you do the honors of telling us what is next in your TV career.
Well, you are a part of my decision. I respect that you asked the questions. I think that's how you show respect to our relationship, is that you didn't fake the funk. You ask what needs to be asked. I respect you for that. I respect how you do the job. I've been jealous of you while I have been away watching. And I want to help. I want to find a way to help people. I'm going to come to News Nation, and I want to build something special here. Work with Dan, work with the team here. They've got great people who are really hungry to make a difference in ways that I think matter.
This guy is sad. This guy really, yeah, Garcon says, wow, is he begging? He sounds like he's begging. Honestly, I gotta read a few comments. Aaron says, taking bets on how long before they go under. We're gonna count it up. We're gonna count it up, Aaron. Steve Harloa says, Chandler, I just got monetized. I wonder how long that'll last. With ScrewTube keeping such a close eye on everything that goes against their narrative. Hey man, more power to you. I don't even meet the criteria for monetization anymore. They've taken everything from this here YouTube channel. So definitely make sure you watch us over on Rumble, where I am proudly monetized. But it is what it is. B Vegan says, ban vax mandates and ban pro-gun controllers from government jobs. Kyle says, sometimes I wish I had it in me to be a POS. Seems like life is easier. And then Aaron says, looking dead into the camera, this was completely planned and set up. Honestly, yeah. No, that's what this is. I mean, it was a TV interview for a network that struggles to get over 10,000 viewers. I don't know. I don't know what to tell y'all. But speaking of a struggle, because while we're in the network of talking about CNN, we should talk about this story, which dropped just today, just an hour or so before we started our show. Trump is now threatening CNN with a lawsuit over defamatory statements. What? Trump is threatening to sue CNN. This is real. Let's check this out. Trump is threatening CNN with a lawsuit over their defamatory reporting. Former President Trump on Wednesday said he planned to file a lawsuit against CNN, alleging the network has repeatedly defamed him dating back to his 2016 campaign for president. I have notified CNN of my intent to file a lawsuit over their repeated defamatory statements against me, Trump said in his statement. I will also be commencing actions against other media outlets who have defamed me and defrauded the public regarding the overwhelming evidence of fraud throughout the 2020 election. I will never stop fighting for the truth and for the future of our country. The 282-page letter from Trump's attorneys to CNN executives dated July 21st calls for the network to retract or correct numerous on-air statements and publish articles about Trump that the lawyers allege are false and defamatory. The letter goes on to cite dozens of examples, many of which relate to the network's coverage of Trump's repeated claims that the 2020 presidential election was fraudulent. CNN coverage frequently referred to those claims as lies, false narratives, and baseless theories, among other terms. The lawsuit alleges those descriptions are false and defamatory, in part because Trump genuinely believes his claims that the election was stolen. Without regard for President Trump's genuine belief in his statements, CNN has published numerous articles characterizing him as a liar and purveyor of the big lie. But perhaps in a preview of how Trump's lawsuit is likely to be received, dozens of lawsuits filed after the 2020 alleging there was widespread fraud that tipped the scales in favor of Joe Biden were summarily dismissed because of a lack of evidence, in some cases by judges appointed by Trump. Trump has spent the 18 months since leaving office continuing to claim the 2020 election was stolen or rigged against him, yada yada yada, yada yada yada. The lawsuit also references commentary on CNN after the 2016 election by various Democrats who asserted Russian interference played a role in getting Trump elected. The intelligence community has established Russia interfered in that election. Trump has had a habit of threatening to sue those who speak critically of him, though he has rarely followed through in recent years. He previously threatened to sue the woman accusing him of sexual misconduct ahead of the election in 2016. He threatened to sue the New York Times over critical coverage, and he suggested he may sue Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff over comments before he was first impeached. Well, this article obviously is from The Hill, and they're going to bring up every little thing they can. But once again, this does show that Trump is getting in there. People are still roasting what's his name? Cuomo here in the chat, which is honestly pretty hilarious. Chosen Savior says, glad Trump is going after CNN, long overdue to be honest. News anchor should leave the acting to actors, says Aaron. And Amelia says, what a kiss up, the king of fake news. At least I hope that's what you meant by F. Honestly, I think this story is really interesting. We'll have to see what comes out of it, but CNN has just been taking hit after hit after hit. Project Veritas exposed them back in 2019. Jeff Zucker had to leave after all the stuff with his misconduct. They've just been taking hit after hit. I think they lost a lot of their airport deals, which is where the majority of their viewership has been coming from, so they've just been going further and further. They're in third place. They'll probably get beat by America's Voice or RSBN or one of those networks soon enough. Definitely. Maybe Newsmax. I think Newsmax is the closest behind them. It's going to happen soon, and when it does, I just cannot wait to see Don Lemonhead and all these different other people crying as their network decides to cut their pay. But speaking of cut their pay with lawsuits or other things of that nature that may be coming along, The View has to once again profusely apologize to Turning Point USA, who have intimated that they may be considering and pursuing legal action against them for their false and defamatory statements. Seems like it's a really common theme today is lawsuits and defamatory statements. Am I right? Or am I right? Let's check this out and we can hear one more apology, 40 seconds long of an apology from whoever this lady is. I don't know who these people are. I don't know their names. I know there's Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg, and there used to be Anna something who was supposed to be a conservative or something. I don't know. And then what was it? Meghan McCain. She was on this show too, right? Anyways, let's hear it.
So on Monday, we talked about the fact
Oh, it's all coming out of the left ear. Are you serious?
that there were openly neo-Nazi demonstrators outside the Florida Student Action Summit of the Turning Point USA group. We want to make clear that these demonstrators were gathered outside the event and that they were not invited or endorsed by Turning Point USA. A Turning Point USA spokesman said the group, quote, 100% condemns those ideologies, and said Turning Point USA security tried to remove the neo-Nazis from the area but could not because they were on public property. Also, Turning Point USA wanted us to clarify that this was a Turning Point USA summit and not a Republican Party event.
Of course.
So we apologize for anything we said that may have been unclear on these points.
So very simple to know. We covered this yesterday as well, and Whoopi Goldberg was, of course, like, well, you guys let them in. Just, reiterating the lie because she didn't care about whether it was a lie. All right, but I'm gonna need the lawsuit to still happen, said Blair White. Elisa says, this is how media deception often works. They will never reach the same audience with a retraction or correction after the initial lie. Yes, that's a very common phrase I've heard before, is a lie could travel around the world while the truth is still putting its shoes and pants on. I think that's about how it goes. Well, Charlie Kirk says he's had enough. He posted on Twitter, talking to lawyers, many think we have a strong case. You cannot smear minors as Nazis and get away with it. It impacts them for the rest of their life. Hashtag sue the View, which is still floating around on the trending tab as much as Twitter does not want it to be there. In fact, let's check right now, see if it's on there or not. Of course, news with Brittany Griner, we don't care, or Griner, it's one of those two. That hashtag sue the View, I think they might have purged it from the list, but it's still been a massive thing. Hashtag sue the View, sue them. Good morning to everyone except Whoopi Goldberg. Jack Masovic says, let's go. And Tyler Boyer says, can't wait for the View to become one of TPUSA's largest donors this year. That's going to be a good one. That is going to be very good. There's more images of the protesters outside of the event, not actually in it, because that's just how these things work. Texan Tuber says, I doubted it at first, but after watching the clip, hashtag sue the View needs to be trending. And I think a lot of people agree that sue the View needs to happen. But hey, it might just be me, except a Garcon says the View is dumb. Aaron Behringer says, Project Veritas just posted a video about their defamation suit against the New York Times. Yeah, I was there when James O'Keefe talked about it at Student Action Summit, which was really cool. Agarson says, Trump, we like a Republican fighter. All that good stuff. All that good stuff. So I'd say we've got a pretty interesting thing about to be happening right now. But through all of that, that has been your Chandler Brief. Thank you guys so much for being tuned in with us today. As you guys know, we do this show every weekday on Mondays and Wednesdays at 4 p.m. here on this YouTube channel, where the dress code is, of course, business casual on this show. We'll be back again tomorrow on Thursday at 8 for tomorrow's edition of Crump Live, where I'll have a great time walking through the news. We may have some special things coming up real soon. But aside from all that, I'll catch you next time, free thinkers. Don't forget to spread the virus of intelligence. Peace.
Into the light.